Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notify button, and you'll never miss a video again. Britt Baker.
You tell me.
Well, all day today.
I woke up today. Well, I actually heard it last night, and so I'll always start. Like the idea that I started getting the texts. Is Britt Baker gone? Check on if Britt Baker's gone. So wrote some people last night, this morning. Not a subject that a lot of people wanted to talk about, but as far as like. You could go from here, but I mean, my basic impression is that it's a story that there's a kernel of truth to some of it, but it got blown way out of proportion.
Well, what happened is I think that Wade Keller on one of his shows was talking about it, and it was one of those things where somebody wrote about what they heard him say, and then another site took that story and wrote a more dramatic headline. And then another site took that story and wrote an even more dramatic headline. And by like noon Pacific today, I mean, I was seeing these headlines. Britt Baker is done with AEW. Tony Khan will no longer use her. And I was like, what is happening here? So if you talk to a lot of people in AEW, obviously Britt Baker is polarizing. There are people that don't like Britt. The idea that nobody in the locker room likes Britt is absolutely not true. I talked to a lot of people today. And at the end of the day, she's not being used right now. And most people don't know why. And ultimately, it's Tony's decision whether she's going to be used or not. And nobody I talked to, and it's a lot of people that talk to Tony, I mean, nobody said she's not coming back. It's not like she's never going to be used again. Her contract goes for quite a while. It's just she's not being used right now. And that's what the story is. I mean...
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's like, who knows? I mean, look, we all know that the last time she was on, they set up something with her and Serena Deeb, and then nothing happened. And she hasn't been around... And, the deal...
She hasn't been around, and the reality is Serena hasn't been used either. Serena's had one match in the last 4 months.
Serena came back and did, I think, one thing since then.
And that was it.
I think to put somebody over.
Yes.
But, yeah. I mean, the thing with AEW... and there's just this, it's the same thing with WWE in a lot of ways, too. I don't know if it's noticed much. Brandon Thurston actually did, some stats, and he went through the whole roster for both companies, and who's not been used for a long time, and for WWE it was 25% of the roster has not been used for however many months, and with AEW it was 32%. So there are people in both companies. Now some of those are injuries. Usually, again, the injury rate, and I've done the stats on the injury rate every couple months. I sit down and do them, and it's usually 8 to 12% in both companies. The stats are pretty close. I know that there's also the perception that more people are hurt in AEW, and it is a more dangerous style. But as we've seen when it comes to injuries, I mean the crazy part of the injuries is most of the injuries are not from doing dangerous stuff. Sometimes they are. But the injury rate for both companies is pretty similar. And with WWE, a lot of the injuries are actually training injuries, because there's a real emphasis on, training really, really hard, especially in the developmental system. And AEW doesn't really have that kind of thing there. And there's a lot of, injuries that come from that, of trying to get people in ring-shaped conditioning. But whatever. The fact is, this is dangerous business. Okay, so like I said, so if we say 25% WWE and 32% AEW, of those, let's just say 10 to 12% of those are injuries. The rest are people who are just not being used right now for whatever reason.
Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful.